Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so the most powerful Pokemon overall in the Holiday Cup is actually one of the most powerful Pokemon in Season 1 of Go Battle League. It's the big blue cloudbird, chicken of destruction, whichever one you want to call it. It's called Altaria. And it's cute, it's adorable, it's blue, it's gold if it's shiny, and it absolutely destroys in the Holiday Cup. Like I mentioned before, it's already insanely powerful in Go Battle League. In Season 1, it was one of the top 3 most powerful Pokemon in existence for the league. And to this day, it's still used a lot in a lot of team comps because guess what? It's just that good. So the thing about Altaria is one of the thickest Pokemon in the land. It sports incredibly high defense and stamina. Couple that with a decent attack, but it has Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath is the most powerful fast move in the game as of sheer damage output. Dragon Breath, especially with Stab, like with Altaria, same type attack bonus, it's going to Dragon Breath a lot of things down. In fact, I think it's like the only thing in the Holiday Cup that actually has Dragon Breath. That, yeah. Well, I don't think not the only thing is, but like, it's like the top Pokemon with Dragon Breath. So as you see here, Altaria, like I mentioned, stupid high attack and defense. The thing about Altaria's big weakness is that it is double weak to ice. As you see here, it is weak to Dragon, Fairy, Rock, and Ice. Now, the good thing about Altaria is that not pure so its weaknesses, but its resistances. It resists a lot of things in the Holiday Cup. You resist grass, ground, bug, fighting, fire, and water. There's a lot of things such as pseudo fighters, fire punches from Diggersby, earthquakes, and the grass types, of course, that are around in the Holiday Cup. Then that you will essentially be able to have really strong matchups with Altaria. But like I mentioned here, Altaria does have a few weaknesses: Dragon, Fairy, Ice, and Rock. The one you're probably going to look at the foremost is probably Ice and Rock. However, because of its moveset, it's still insanely powerful. And statistically, it is the strongest Pokemon in the Holiday Cup. As you see here, Dragon Breath and Sky Attack are a great combination. Both get Stab. You even have options like Dragon Pulse and Dazzling Gleam. Overall, it's an incredibly powerful Pokemon, and if you thought it really annoyed you in Open Great League, it's going to annoy you in the Holiday Cup. Either one, because you've been killed by it, or two, you love this thing because you use it, and it's really, really good for the Holiday Cup. Alright, so here we have the Holiday Cup rankings. As you see here, as I mentioned, Altaria does rank at number 1 overall. It's extremely powerful as a lead and closer, not so much as a switch, just because if you switch into something bad, you do have some hard losses against a few things. For example, Lone Graveler and Dugong, and especially Wigglytuff. Mr. Wiggles is going to be prominent in this cup again. Mr. Wiggles does fit the criteria for the Holiday Cup, and it's actually pretty dang powerful. Also, Abomasnow gives you a huge problem as well. However, if you do, as you see here, the reason why Altaria is the number 1 is because it does so well against a diverse variety of meta picks. Yes, you lose against a few things, sometimes hard. However, you do beat Alolan Marowak, you do beat the pseudo fighters in Vigoroth and Obstagoon. You wall Diggersby because of Fire, Mudshot, Fire Punch, and Earthquake are all resisted by Altaria, and you also beat Stunfisk. Altaria in practice and in statistic-wise is incredibly powerful. As you see, very high as an attacker, very high as a charger. Like I said, you don't want to use it as a switch because what happens if it gets into a negative matchup, it's going to be really bad. So, well, with almost anything. But as you see here, there's a lot of some things like especially Charmers and Abomasnow that do very well against Altaria. However, very powerful as a lead and as a closer. Statistically, overall, it is the most powerful one, beating actually the other top 2 in the top 3. So it beats Vigoroth and Diggersby XL, which the other 3. Actually, it beats 4. Actually, yeah. It beats, out of the top 4, out of the top 5, it beats 4 of the top 5. Only losing to Alolan Graveler, as you see here. So it beats 4 of the top 5, making it really, it's incredibly powerful. In the lead, Altaria does rank at 97.6. As you see, it's the number 5 lead. Beats a lot of things. Beats the Pseudo-Fires, beats Limrock, beats Stunfisk. As I mentioned, in the Switch is probably the worst position. As you see here in the Switch, Altaria ranks at... I actually have to find it. Altaria ranks at number 24. Now, if you switch in now... If you have an unfavorable lead, you switch out, okay. But if they do have a Wigglytuff or a Lapras or anything ice, it's going to hurt a lot and you're likely going to die. However, you see you beat everything. Bivigi, pretty much everything you saw in the lead. Same thing, that key highlights for switches. As a closer, Altaria ranks at number 10. It stands in the top 10. Able to defeat Alolan Marowak, Vigoroth, Obstagoon, Diggersby, and Galvantula. As you see here in the closer, it's still very powerful against like really positive matchups. You see the same matchups that it really highlights and does really well against. However, you do have to avoid Skarmory, Stunfisk, Galarian, Alolan Graveler as much as you can. Wigglytuff, of course, because they're Charmers, and Lantern. Stunfisk, it's fine, it's okay, and so is Lantern. With shields and with like chip damage, you can flip those matchups. But you really want to be careful of Skarmory. Just basically whatever resists Dragon Breath, and especially Charmers and things that throw rocks at you, like Alolan Graveler. But, however, it's incredibly powerful still. As you see, number 32 has the Charger. Charge is very fast and powerful. As an attacker, it's incredibly powerful, actually ranking as number 3. As you see, it's able to defeat a wide variety of the meta, including Snorlax and Charizard in certain scenarios. Now, there is a scenario where you will lose against Vigoroth, and we'll go over that in the Matrix. But as you see, overall, Altaria is very, very powerful, but overall in the meta, it's actually the strongest mon in the Holiday Cup. Alright, here's my favorite part of the video, the peepoke.com makers. Again, if you would like to donate to peepoke.com, please do so. This is an amazing website, and peepoke.com is an amazing human being. Please do consider donating. Here's Altaria. If some of y'all like being really fancy with the blue chicken or the gold chicken, depending on which one. You went to Willy Wonka, the chocolate factory, you got the gold chicken with the golden egg. If you did not, and you weren't lucky, you did not get the shiny, you have the blue chicken. Blue chicken looks cool anyways. Actually, no. If you don't have the solid gold one, you suck. You should probably go get a shiny one. I'm just kidding. Anyways, here we have Altaria versus the Holiday Cup meta. Here's a 2-shield. I'm going to run the simulation. Like I said, we're going to do both Dragon Pulse and Dazzling Gleam for science, just because it doesn't hurt to see both, and see if one flips another, and it'd be interesting to see if Dazzling Gleam does eat something to the next dimension. Anyways, as you see here, you do lose really hard against Ice type. So anything that chucks and sends you to negative degree weather is going to kill you. So make sure you avoid them. As you see here, Abomasnow, Dugong, Drifloon, and Frostus unfortunately send you to the next dimension of Heaven, or actually the Graveyard, which would technically be the dimension of Giratina. Anyways, that's another different topic. You do beat Diggersby, Galvantula. Of course, you beat Galvantula just because you do... Those Volt Switches do neutral damage against you, and those lunges don't hurt as much. So you do... And Galvantula is squishy, so those Dragon plus Sky Attack will kill. Also, like I mentioned, you do wall Diggersby, so One-Shot Fire Punch and Earthquake is not a good moveset because Altaria... Well, it's a good moveset, not against the Big Blue Chicken, however. You beat both versions of Lantern in the 2-shield. You also beat Manabuzz, Alolan Marowak, and Obstagoon. Now, you have to be careful against Alolan Graveler as well. As you see, it's a close matchup, but it will bury you. It's going to bury you underneath a bunch of rocks, and Rock Blast hurts a lot. You ever have a 50-ton boulder or 500-ton boulder hurled in front of your face? Because that's what Alolan Graveler does to Big Blue Chicken. And you know what? Big Blue Chicken don't like it. So, that's what happens here. It hurts a lot. Avoid it. The Lachman's monster sends you to the next Ice Age. Magnezone does hit you really... This is a bait-dependent match power for Magnezone, because Magnezone has to bait your shields with Mirror Shot. If you are able to bait... If you are able to shield... You see... Yeah, Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot, Mirror Shot. And if you're able to actually shield the Wild Charge, so let's see... Like, you don't shield this attack. You actually shield the Wild Charge. Altaria can win. So this is a really bait-dependent matchup. So don't worry about the Magnezone one too much. It's a bait-dependent matchup. It's pretty easy to tell. If you fall for the Mirror Shot bait, it feels like the worst thing in the world. You do block the Wild Charge, however, and Hadouken is not successful. It's a very good feeling when you shield the Wild Charge, because you're like, ha! You thought so. Not today. No, not today. Anyways, you do like I mentioned, be careful about ice types, Skarmory. Skarmory does resist Dragon Breath, and because of that, Skarmory in most scenarios will actually beat you. You do beat Snorlax, you beat Stunfisk, Talonflame. You do lose against Vigoroth in the 2-shield just because those body slams chunk. So be very careful. In the 2 shield, you can lose against Vigoroth. As you see here, Vigoroth just literally WWEs you to the next dimension. It will win the championship belt, and your big blue chicken will die. Yes, Yes, it lives with like 13 HP, but it's never a good feeling when you lose a really big flying fortress tank albatross thingy to Viggy. Because Viggy going to Viggy, and like I said, those biceps hurt. So we've seen Altaria in 2 shield. Here's the 1 shield in battle. As you see here in the 1 shield, it actually gets a little better. It actually, some matchups are a lot better. As you see here, just if you see the snowflake on the top right of the screen, or you visually see something that's an ice type, if it's Obama snow, you probably didn't vote for Obama and you're probably going to die. Anyways, make sure just avoid ice types in general, okay? As you see here, you actually able to beat Drifblim in the 1 shield just because those icy winds don't chunk as much anymore, and you do have a chance. As you see here, you will be able to KO with your Sky Attack. As you see, Sky Attack. Actually, you Dragon Pulse them to death. So either one, you just you shield one and then you hit them with a big move because you survive the icy wind, the subsequent icy wind after. As you see here, you're able to survive and cake out the Drifblim. You also beat Galvantula as usual. You beat both versions of Lantern. Again, avoid ice types as much as possible. Magnezone. This is like I mentioned, remember I was talking about volleyball? Volleyball with Magnezone is called Wall Charge. And now, if you do shield, if you do call the bait, so if you call the bait, as you see here, you do not shield the Mirror Shot, you actually shield the Wall Charge, you actually win. So, in 69 seconds, that's a very impressive number. Best number of all, one of 2 of the greatest numbers of all time. Anyways, that is a big, like I said, with Magnezone, it's a big dependent matchup. You have to call the Mirror Shot. Shield the Wall Charge, you're golden. You don't shield the Wall Charge, you get baited, you die. It's that simple. Now, as you see here, you do lose against Charmers and really hard, so just be careful. And as you see here, you still lose against Skarmory and Alolan Sandslash. You still beat the same match. You have very convincing matchups against you win against. And in the 1 shield, you actually beat Vigoroth. Viggy beats you in the 2s, you win in the 1. So Viggy will body slam you to death. So don't be hella fancy if they throw a Viggy into you as a safe switch. Don't throw your Altaria into it because you lose the 2 shield. I found that out the hard way, by the way. I was in a tournament. I threw my Altaria into a Vigoroth, being like, yay! And you know what I should have done? I should have debuffed it with my Mantine, with Bubble Beam, and then went in with my Altaria. Because if Viggy is actually debuffed, you can take that match. So, yeah, don't do what I did. Just make, yeah. Viggy wins the 2s, remember that. And in the 0s, it gets a little dicey. In the 0s is also Altaria's greatest position. As you see here, you lose again. Business as usual. You will lose against, like I said, ice types. And generally, like, Skarmory. But as you see here, unless they're only in the Water Gun, Lantern does win. You also lose against Drifblim as well. So you only beat Drifblim in the 1s or if you have shield advantage. So as you see, Alolan Graveler does hit hard. It sucks. Water Gun Lapras, you do beat it. However, the Spark one will defeat you. Now, here's what's interesting. With the Magnezone, it's the same dang thing, okay? With Magnezone, just do it. Yeah, just it's gonna hurt a lot, okay? Like, I really want to tell you everything's gonna go okay, but dang, do you know how much Wild Charge does if you don't have a shield? They double up, you die. It is that simple. Double up, death. I don't know why you win with Dazzling Gleam. You shouldn't theoretically win with Dazzling Gleam. Let's see what happens here. Altaria wins. Oh! You see, this is one of those matchups where it's just like, what? So, Dazzling Gleam actually flips the Magnezone matchup in the 0s because you actually one Dazzling Gleam actually does take out Mag. That's pretty funny. So, the right moveset, which is actually, well, technically the right moveset, so Sky Attack Dragon Balls actually is the worst move, not the worst moveset, but the wrong moveset to run. With again, a closer against the Magnezone, because you actually beat it with Dazzling Gleam. That's pretty funny. As you see here, you beat everything you're supposed to beat. You still lose against Skarmory. You also lose against Alolan Sandslash. In the 0s, you also lose against Stunfisk. And of course, you're going to get destroyed by the Charmers. So, if you see Mr. Wiggles, or if you see Big Afro Grass Thingy, you run. It's that simple. Run. Now, with Shield Advantage, things do change. As you see here in the 1 to Shield, 1 to 0, things do change. You will beat a vast majority of the meta, only dropping matchups to Alolan Sandslash and Wims and the Charmers. So, if you're in the 1 to 0s, you have a lot of play. Of course, in the 2 to 0s, everything is really, well, actually, that's the 2 to 0s. In the 1 to 0s, so in the 1 to 0s, you actually drop the Dugong matchup. You drop Lapras, Magnezone. Again, you beat Magnezone as long as you have Dazzling Gleam, which is freaking hilarious. So it's actually worth it to run Dazzling Gleam versus the Dragon Pulse version. You beat Dugong, you lose, I mean, you don't beat Dugong, you lose against Dugong, so again, most ice types you will lose against. You do flip the Frostless matchup in the 1-0, so you're actually able to take out Frost. However, you will still lose against Lapras, you also lose against Dugong, just because they're so thick and those ice shards hurt. Now, in the 1-0s, you actually beat the Skarmory matchup, so this is where you have a chance against Skarmory, is if you're in the 1-0s. Now, of course, if it's the 2-0s, as we mentioned before, the only matchups you will drop is... only drop Mr. Wiggles and Alolan Sandslash. Other than that, you're able to defeat the rest of the meta. So just be careful. Well, 2-0, any Pokemon is really strong, but however, like I mentioned, it's just Alolan Sandslash. Or, yeah, Alolan Sandslash, because it does. The reason why it's Alolan Sandslash is because your Dragon Breaths are resisted. That's pretty much why. Also, Whimsicott and Wigglytuff are going to destroy you. In the 2-1s, things do change, as you see here. In the 2-1s, you get... In the 2-1s, it's essentially like the one shield. You still lose against Frostless, Dugong, Abomasnow, Sandslash, Skarmory, Whimsicott, and Wigglytuff. So it's like it's basically like the one, very similar to the one shield scenario if you have shield advantage. As you see here, not too much of a difference, but it's, as you see, Altaria is still very powerful. As in the 2-1s, as you see, its winning matchups have very strong ratings, so it's still very strong. The only dicey thing about it is that you're gonna play patty cake or you're gonna play hot potato with your Altaria if you lose the lead, or if you get locked into something like an Abomasnow, then that sucks. Alright, so if I had to give Altaria a rating, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Now, while that seems pretty dang high because there's a lot of things here that have seen Titanic, and you're probably going to crash into it, what I mean by that is there are ice types. Hear me out here. So, as you see here, the reason why Frostless and Castform and other ice types rank so low is, guess what they're beaten by? Alolan Marowak, Obstagoon, Wigglytuff, and Graveler. In other words, there's a lot of things above here that are going to hurt you a lot. The fact that Obstagoon and Vigoroth are alive do threaten ice types just because of the pseudo counter damage. Also, Obstagoon sucks, and Obstagoon is also very viable. There's a lot of things that ice are weak to in the Holiday Cup. Also, because of that, and ice also loses to Skarmory and Alolan Marowak, it's a very dangerous meta. It's a very diverse meta, and what I mean like by dangerous, it's very dangerous to have to not have checks against Altaria, or rather than this, put an ice type in the lead. If you look actually in the lead for what's in the Holiday Cup, there's no ice types, and you want to know why? Because of things like Alolan Marowak, Charizard, and Talonflame. A lot of things are what really good in the lead are basically going to kill ice types it's like going to be shaved ice. You shave the ice, you make a flavor, and the flavor that's here is death. Because most of everything in the lead will kill ice types in the Holiday Cup. So, if you do lead with Altaria, it's pretty safe. Not completely safe, of course, you could still lose the lead. You can always have the threat of losing the lead. However, other than that, the reason why it's a 9 out of 10 is because Altaria does have great advantages. It has strong matchups against what you beat, and Altaria's Dragon Breath just does so much damage. Like I mentioned, how Dragon Breath is such an oppressive move. As you see here, there's no other Pokemon in this meta, or at least in the top 50. Actually, here, top 37. Okay, you see there's something over here. From 1 to 30... From 1 to 37, there's no other Pokemon that has Dragon Breath. Altaria has the bulk. It has Dragon Breath. Yes, Ice hurts. However, it's able to take a substantial amount of damage outside of Ice-type moves. Also, if you have shields with it, you can still beat certain matchups. Like you see here with Frost, if you have shield advantage, you can still beat Frostless. There's still a lot of ways you can flip matchups with Altaria. Because of its bulk, it gives you sack swap plays. It also gives you chances to pivot out of things. And Dragon Breath does so much damage. If you have more HP than an Ice type, I guarantee you, depending on the range you're at, you're probably going to be able to send Dragon Breath, and you're going to Dragon Breath whatever the Ice type is to the next to Oblivion, because Dragon Breath is just that good. I'm pretty sure you've seen plenty of instances where Altaria has one Dragon Breath down whatever's in front of it, or two, it's essentially locked in your win condition, because guess what? One-turn moves prevent charge moves from coming through if they die to the one-turn move, which is Dragon Breath. It's really strong. Okay, Altaria is really good, and because of that, I have to give it 9 out of 10. It encompasses a lot of things. It's also very strong against a lot of top meta picks. And like I said, because of that, I have to give Altaria 9 out of 10. Very powerful against the Holiday Cup meta. Of course, things are going to lose against it. However, Dragon Breath plus the bulk equals Altaria is a beast, not in just open Great League, but also for the Holiday Cup. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. If you guys really do like the big blue albatross bird known as Altaria, you're going to love it for this meta, Holiday Cup. It's actually really, really good. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next Holiday Cup video.